Welcome to the Know Better, Grow Better show, guys. This is your favorite girl. I'm Jamila, your favorite host. Wow, I just put the whole thing together. But it's cool. Miss Resource, I'm here with my favorite host, Mr. Coquito, Sean. How you doing?
What's good, guys? How you doing? Welcome to the Know Better, Grow Better show. And today, we got the lifestyle transformation coach, Mr. Jamal Harding. What's good, man?
Things are great. Outstanding. Like I say, I'm outstanding, still improving. That's my day-to-day.
That's what's up. And I know, we brought you here for a good reason. But before we jump into conversation, we always got, in the beginning of our segment, something called straightening it out. Right? So with straightening it out, we always have a random conversation of whatever we're talking about that we put on pause and bring to the podcast. Right?
All right.
So we wanted to bring on this topic because you're here with us. And even though this ain't like an argument or a talk conversation, is remember how we met? It was a guys versus girls.
I remember that.
So let me tell you how we met Jamal, everybody. So we went to the R&B only live concert down in Brooklyn. And of course, a lot of R&B, good energy. Joint was like really, really dope. So when we was there, they did a girl versus man battle on songs going back and forth. So of course I had Jamal like right behind me and we was battling the girls. Do you remember the song y'all had?
I feel like it was like Mary J. I feel like it was Mary J. I can't remember.
Oh, you see?
Oh, I can't remember. I think it was Mary J.
I think it was I'm Going Down.
No. It was two. Nah.
You don't know the song?
I'm going to say Mary J.
So I remember our song. We had Shy, If I Ever Had Fall in Love.
Now what song you know words?
And
you don't even know
if
words to songs.
Ever fall in love.
No. So me and Sean was singing and dancing, and then something about Jamal's energy behind us or next to us, it was just like calling us. And we just kept looking at him like, oh, he's feeling it too. And then we slowly started moving towards him like, oh no, we need that around us. And then they started singing together. And his friend that he was with, me and her started singing together. And then we had a battle.
Yep. And the guys won. The guys won. Like, we you know what I'm going to do? For those who are listening to this, if I find the video, go jump into the YouTube.
Well, we got the videos.
Right? Oh, we got the videos. Go jump to YouTube. Know Better, Grow Better show on YouTube. We're going to put a clip of our battle. Right? And I'm going to let you decide who won. And we also going to put this on the Instagram.
So
that's what we're going to do too.
Y'all did okay. Y'all had a little energy.
All y'all was doing was like swing left to right. But us, we was into it.
Why? Because you finally learned the word?
We had the grab.
Exactly.
The point
you
and the grab.
know the R&B point? We had all of that.
The bad thing is that they were actually in sync, and it was
the
so aggravated.
We had the Nehu. You can't beat the Nehu.
They did.
Nehu.
They did. They even did the dip and everything. Like,
Exactly. Look, I didn't even
this
put
might
the
be
little
one thing I might actually lose for the first time.
This is recorded, right? This is recorded.
Yeah.
You heard that, right? Everybody?
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure I post this.
I said this would be the only one.
I don't know about the only, but we're going to make
if you
clips.
come up against us at one more time again.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Let's do it.
You know what? I will call Danielle. If you're out there, your friend is requesting another battle.
We need part 2.
And bring your friends. Make sure that they come too.
Ooh.
I got people
It's
for
like
you.
it's like a
I
gang.
got people.
Can you have a gang fight in R&B?
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
I know it's like Battle of the Sexes, but it's like Battle of the Sexes.
You got served the singing editions.
Ooh,
So y'all got the first one, but that's the only one y'all gonna get. I'm done. No, you're messing me up.
So now that we straightened that out, right? So the not the only reason, but so today we're talking about I can't even say fitness.
Health.
Right?
Yeah.
I can't even say health.
Wellness.
We're talking about transformation. Right?
Lifestyle.
So to give you a little, and you know what? I'll let you talk, but Mr. Lifestyle Transformational Coach with over 20 years of experience doing personal training and coaching, elite high performance training, recovery and injury prevention, wellness, and holistic consulting. So that is a mouthful.
You still got a little bit more. You're missing some.
Yeah.
And I'm a
joints.
nice looking guy at the top of that. Goodness gracious. Don't you know no good?
No good.
So just give us a little introduction about your background and in saying this too, like the reason why we follow you and respect you too is because looking at a whole bunch of people who quote unquote are coaches and everything, like they only fall under the heading of a personal trainer or anything like that. But following you and looking at you and your results, you do a lot more than that.
Right.
So before we get into the nitty gritty, I definitely want you to introduce yourself and who you are a little bit more.
Oh man, so I'm Jamal Harding. I'm a lifestyle transformation coach. I'm a joints and muscle specialist, and what do those two things mean is I basically support the people in creating balance in their bodies. So a lot of times when we go from being unfit to fit or unhealthy to healthy, we always hear about people bouncing back to that original space, and really hard too, like they crash back there. And what I got was, when you're going from being unhealthy to healthy, unfit to fit, or even being from an injury to not being injured, there's a mindset shift that has to go along with it.
Yep.
Because there's a mindset shift that created it in the first place. And when I got that, there was that mindset shift, I created for myself the lifestyle transformational coaching and the joints and muscle specialist to allow people to have the support in balancing the body out and the mindset as things are going back to the way we want them to be, to the creation.
So
and
deep.
you know, and me and Jamila was talking about this, you know, off screen too. Is that's why, like, looking at you and following you and looking at the transformations too, like, it's not just about your body, it's your mind, and we're a big advocate for that because, you know, as being training small businesses or doing financial coaching, like 20% is probably the action, but 80% is the mindset.
Most definitely.
So what is like the mindset shift that you have to tell people, or you can tell people, like, from going to unhealthy to healthy but staying healthy?
So it's very individual. That's the thing about the mindset shift, is really about getting into that person's world, getting really related to what is in their space. So I can give it for myself. Like, when I've gone from transitioning myself from injury to where I feel very powerful about my body. I used to run track professionally for Barbados. And when I retired because I tore my pelvic floor. And at the time, it was the only thing I wanted to do with my life, was to be a 60-meter world record holder. That was it. So the moment that I knew that dream wasn't available, it destroyed me. And when I mean destroyed me, I was in a space where I was like thinking about self-deletion. I felt like my world just wasn't anything.
Like you felt like giving up.
I felt like giving up on everything.
Yeah.
And what I got was, I had it that the world owed me something. That was what was in my space. And I was like, I'm not playing a game on this planet. I'm not doing anything full out, because until the world gives me what it owes me. And it's like, that was what was in my space. And when I got present to that, what ended up showing up was, okay, I created that. And because I created it, now I have the ability to create something different in that space. What I created was, well, who am I in this world? When people talk to me, what do they get from me?
Right.
And I was like, all right. So I started asking people about it. And they're like, well, you know, you're pretty cool with fashion. You know, I really get really great advice from you. You really know the body when it comes to things. So I started delving into these things a little bit more. And what started showing up was ways in which I can be a contribution to other people. And it gave me this idea of like, all right, well, I do this and I do that. And I do this. And they were all separate jobs and careers professions I was creating.
They was all good with them.
And one woman, I had one woman as business coach, and she goes, "You transform lives, like you transform lifestyles."
So that was like your
Just put it
superpower,
together.
right?
Yep.
And she was like, she's like, "You think they're all separate entities?
They're not.
They're all one thing."
Connected.
And as I put them in together, like I started creating programs on how to support people who were like, "Man, I have an autoimmune," but at the same time, I started recognizing like, "Oh, your autoimmune is also like," I'll say it this way: your body is a hologram of your mind. So whatever is showing up in your body has been showing up in your thought process
That's
for
right.
a very long time.
That's real, because it's like what they always say, right? Whatever you focus on expands.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you focus on the sickness, the stress and stuff, that would go through your mind internally and then start showing outwardly as well.
Correct. Even think of race car drivers. Like when they're like about to crash, they don't look at the wall. They stare away from the wall. They stare to where they want to go. And a lot of times in life, just in general as humans, we steer towards the wall. We go, "I don't want that," and we focus on what we
That's
don't
all you
want.
talk about.
Yep.
Yep.
And instead of actually going, "You know what? I want this, and I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to focus on how in every avenue it would come to me." And then what starts to show up is more opportunities for
Yep.
that.
And that way. I want to back up real quick.
Yeah, me too. But go ahead.
So-
You can go.
When you was talking about how you was in that really negative space and how you realized you had to change your mindset, like what was that turning point for other people? Like what was that turning point for you that allowed you to see things differently? Like what did it take for you to just completely change your mindset?
I would say honestly, it showed up as synchronicities. So it was, all right, I'm back in New York City and I'm thinking about going to massage school because I'm like, you know what? I love the information that my massage therapist knew about the body. And I go, well, the only massage schools when I'm Googling are showing up in New Jersey and I'm living in Long Island. This sucks. And somebody just happens to talk to, at the time, my ex-fiance, they happen to talk to her and go, "Oh, well, you know, there's a massage school like right down the street in Huntington." I'm like, no way. I go and I look up the school. They're having a open house
Special.
on I think it's like Saturday. It's Thursday right now. I'm like, okay, perfect. This is great. I'm going to go down the street, go look at this thing. And when I get there, the dean of the school is the former acupuncturist that I had as a professional runner.
Ooh.
And I'm just like, how are you up here in New York?
Look
We were
at
just
God.
in Florida.
Right.
Yeah,
He
look
was
at
like,
God.
I moved here in February. I was like, I moved back in April. So now all these things started to line up, and I was like, the opportunities are always there.
You just have to see it.
But when you're in those depressive spaces,
You
you're so blinders are on because you're looking at the world from one space.
Right.
And in that moment, it was just that I was able to catch it. I was able to catch the
Right.
opportunity.
Yeah,
So
and,
for those
and that's
people-
super good. So just to touch on that too is like, you know, because I've been depressed too, I've been stressed too, but we just keep on thinking about that reoccurring thing over and over again. And we got a saying too that like, you can't have the same level of thinking that created it to get you out of it.
Correct.
Right. And usually like when we're stressed and everything, like we have the same level of thinking. And I seen from what you just told me, like you thought the world owed you.
Yeah.
So you was waiting for it to pay you back.
Correct.
Right.
And touching that subject, right, is that have you ever read the book You Owe You
Never.
by Eric Thomas?
Never.
So just to give you one point of the book, and the premise of it is that what he says is that people walk around like the world owe you, right? But the world is not going to give you anything. But
Correct.
you owe you. So it's your job, especially like when you turn 18, 21, what it is, it's your job to go out and go get the thing that you need or want or deserve, because somebody's not going to hand it to you.
Gotta work
Correct.
at it.
So now, like, looking at that mind shift for you, right? You was in that rut for X amount of time, and then you switched to like, and somebody had to come to you to like say, hey, that's transformation, which is pretty powerful.
Correct.
And then now when you start seeking it, then God put the right things in place.
Correct.
And then you speak about it out loud. Hey, I'm looking for a massage therapist school. Then somebody
Same
say,
week.
go down the block. So you go down the block, and now, boop, your athlete trainer was there. So now what happened from there?
So I actually enrolled in that program. I'll say this first. I just want to touch on something you had said, which was because of all of those things that I had gone through, and I was thinking the same mindset shift. It's literally the reason why I created the slogan for my company. My company is JMCT, which is Joints and Muscles Corrective Training, and the slogan for it is "Success is deliberate."
Yep.
And it's really, that's the reason it was all created, was in that I realized that in not being owed anything, success is deliberate. There's an outcome, there's a plan of action, and then there are steps.
Yeah.
And that's how we get there. To go forward, oh man, so I ended up enrolling into the school in Long Island, and my mentor from high school, like a big brother of mine,
The way the world works.
Sandy hits. And Hurricane Sandy hits, and I'm going to school out in Long Island, and it devastates Long Island.
Because it's surrounded by water, guys. Yeah.
Right. And I'm just out here like, man, there's no electricity. And he had come back into my life, and at this time, we were kind of estranged. I was just like, I'm not really talking to him. He kind of disappeared on me. And he goes, yo, we'll come to Manhattan because it's fine out here. Like, it looks regular here. And I'm like, nah, I've seen it all. It's flooded all over Manhattan. Wrong. I go to Manhattan to Upper East Side. It almost looks like Sandy didn't even touch New York City.
He's I'm in the same state.
Yep.
He's like, I'm like, oh my gosh. So he's like, yo, I'm never at home. You can stay at my place. So I end up staying at his place. He ends up getting me a job at the gym he's training at. And he's actually the manager at the gym. One of the best personal training gyms in the country. It's called David Barton Gym. And I start working there, and all of the trainers are basically like, they might as well be physical therapists. Every single one of them. They're the top of the top type of trainers in the U.S. And I'm at this school now. It's in Long Island, but I'm also now training in Manhattan. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to transfer to the New York or the Manhattan location. I'm in this school, I'm at this job, and I'm just sitting there like I'm in awe of the knowledge that all these people have. So I'm like, yo, how long did it take you to get here? Like, but knowledge-wise, they're like, oh, about a decade. I'm like, dang, I don't want to be here a decade.
I'm just starting.
I was like, so I started realizing, but they're all coming from the training perspective, and that's how they got this knowledge. Everybody in the school is coming from the massage therapy perspective, and that's how they got their knowledge. And I'm having mentors on both sides.
Nice.
And I start blending the two, and I was like, I'm going to get where they are in half the time because I'm going to blend the two of these. So I was like, I'm going to leave this program or leave this school, and when I leave this school, I'm going to know my body better. I'm going to be able to get myself back into competing again because I'm going to fix my body. And I'm going to know everything they know in the next 4 to 5 years and more. So I said, I'm going to create my own form of physical therapy. That was the whole goal.
Crazy.
So literally that's how it started.
That's what's up. And then another, look, you're speaking like nuggets right now. And I want people to get this who's listening too, is that one thing powerful you just said is that, hey, I'm going to get there in 4 to 5 years.
Time frame.
But most people are like, man, I need to get there tomorrow. Especially people, I mean, you're from Barbados, but I don't know their mindset. But here in New York, we had that microwave mentality.
Oh yeah.
Where they're like, oh, I'm gonna get there in 6 to 12 months.
Like,
but you're saying 4 to 5 years. Being realistically.
My goal was, I was like, I want to get there in half the time. This was 2012 at this time. At 2016, so not even 5 years, I end up creating Joints and Muscle Therapy, going back down to Florida just to give my fiance my daughter, everybody a break on his visit. My mentor was like, I need you to work on me really quickly because my body hurts. And she's like, I know you just got out of school. And she's like, oh my gosh, you're better than half my staff, and you just left the program. Gives me a job. She says, come back in February. I want you to work here for a week. I'm going to introduce you to the Adidas track and field team. I spend that week there, and in that week, they give me the position. I come back down. I spend the next 2 years from 2016 to 2018 working for the Adidas track and field team.
Look at that. Look at that.
Nice.
It's like, it was like you give yourself a time limit and you really, or a deadline, and you actually have to separate yourself from how it's going to happen.
I love
That's
that.
deep. Yeah, because most people overestimate what they can do in a year,
And
but underestimate what they can do in 5 to 7.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And don't get it twisted. I'm still victim to that.
But you're making progress.
But you're making progress. 20 years in the business. Now you created Jam CT, and not only like as an athlete, but like you said, massage therapist. You're an athlete, so you can speak from both sides, and then that has transformed to, hey, being a coach, because that is your superpower.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is I have my master's in coaching.
Look at that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I got my master's from Stony Brook in coaching and exercise science.
So what did you originally wanted to do with that? Because I know sometimes the vision, and everybody here, sometimes the vision changes, right? So what did you originally go to school and got your master's for?
Yeah.
Like, what did you want to do versus what you're doing right now?
All right, so I'm going to give you guys the funny hack on that. The hack on that was the only thing I wanted to do was to get out of my mother's house. My master's was a way to get myself out of the house. 'Cause I was like, I've been out this house for 4 years, and now I'm back for a semester.
It's like, oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. I'm going back. I'm going to get this master's. They gave me an apartment on campus, and it was my transition into my doctorate of physical therapy. So that was what it was supposed to do. It was supposed to give me some time as I figured out and took a couple of classes that needed to still be taken to get into my doctorate. And when it was time to now apply for the doctorate, it was like, all right, do I want to spend the next 5 years in school after just writing this master's thesis? Or do I want to finally realize my dream of becoming a professional athlete? So I gave up the doctorate.
I would imagine.
For a year, and I ran track professionally for the country, in the country for the year. And then one of my teammates there said, I think you need to find a coach in the States. And then I ended up finding like an amazing coach, like one of the best world-class athletes to ever hit the U.S., Dennis Mitchell in Florida. And
Just running into people.
but and then that's the thing. It was, I'll tell you how I found him. There was a woman that I had a crush on when I was in high school.
It's always a girl.
And she was running at the camp that was on that track. I'm not saying her name because she's already married with a kid. But I was like, I can go down there. And like I knew Tyson Gay. He was like one of the fastest Americans in the world at the time. And he was running and competing on that track. So I went to go see his coach.
Yeah, I went to go see Tyson.
I went to go see his coach because she was no longer there. She was now at Texas.
You just deep.
And I was like, I'm going to go see him. But I was like, how am I going to go meet this guy? At the time, JetBlue was having their decade sale. They were having flights anywhere in the world for $10.
I remember that. Bought a couple of flights.
Yep. And I was like, my girlfriend and I were like, all right, we're just going to go to Aruba. We go to Aruba for a day. And we're going to bring our friend with us. And I was like, you know what? Actually, I'm supposed to be going to Florida. And I was trying to figure out how I was going to get to Florida. And now I have $10 flights.
Right.
And no money. Perfect. That's $30.
Uh-huh.
I got these $30 round trip tickets. And I go to Florida. I have family in Florida. And they take me there. And when I was there, I meet this trainer. And he goes, based off of what I know about your body, I don't think that coach would be good for you. I think you would do better with Dennis because he's great at building athletes from scratch. And I was like, got it.
No problem.
Financially, it was a perfect match because it went from being $1,000 a month to $300. It's like, this is great. So I go down and I run with Dennis for the next 2 years. And it basically, actually I run for like a year and change. But I learned a lot about my body. I didn't get everything I wanted from that experience because I went down there to be like super fast. I got super strong. I did a ton of things with my body that I never thought possible. And I got injured all the time. All the time. But during the time process, I learned how to take care of my body better than anybody else. I learned the body to a T. So when I left, I had all this knowledge about angles and how the body works, all these different things that I had no idea I knew until I got into the profession of training and massage therapy. Now, all this knowledge that I thought was wasted, all this time I thought was wasted, became like this holy grail of knowledge right behind me.
So this is a very like great story too, because like most people, of course, of the black and brown community and stuff like that, like we do things and things like become blurry, right? Like our vision becomes blurry as we're going or trying to go to something, and we tend to give up because it's not going as planned.
I didn't do what
right?
I wanted to do when I went there.
And
I didn't
looking
get
at
what
your
I wanted.
story, exactly. So now looking at your story, nothing's going as planned. Nothing's going as planned. But this is a setup to where you're going, because of course, like we always say, it's we have a plan, but we're on God's plan.
Right.
Right? And his timing.
Correct.
So even though like your plan was to become this professional athlete, not knowing you was going to get injured, not knowing you was going to become a massage therapist.
No. Oh.
Like now look at you years later as this transformational coach, like doing wonders for people.
Right.
Yeah.
Whether online or in person.
It's what's interesting is I remember my mother saying, I didn't pay for all this schooling for you to go be a massage therapist or a trainer. And of course, coming from a Caribbean household, I'm going into science. I clearly started college pre-med.
What most island people want their kids to go to.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm going to be an anesthesiologist.
Because they pay good money, right?
Right. And that was the only thing. It was because they paid good money. And I remember taking Bio 202 at Stony Brook, and oh my gosh, that was the hardest course I had ever taken.
I second that.
And
not that there, but yeah, I second that.
But it's like I remember it being so challenging and going like, this, if I'm getting basically a C minus, working this hard, this can't be it. And I remember switching to the health sciences, and when I switched to the health sciences, I aced everything to the point where people were like, we have to study with him. Because I would make studying fun. I had all these ways of like making you understand and remember information. So it became a testament to how I know when I'm on the right path.
That's that personal development, because you have to know yourself.
And the mindset shift, because now you're happy at this point, right?
Right.
And was you happy when you was doing the doctor stuff?
I wasn't. I was always looking to... And I can be very honest with it. I was on the doctor path because my goal was to make myself so successful that the people in my life who hadn't supported me would be there to support me later, and I could shun them. That was my thought process. My thought process was like, I got to get so successful that when you see me, you now think differently.
To show you.
Right, that you were wrong about me when I was younger. And... what changed me, which is very interesting, was that it was my first semester at Stony Brook. I just finished getting there. My grandmother passes, and we have to travel to Barbados. My grandma's like huge matriarch of the family, and we travel there for a week. I come back. All my teachers know, but this one teacher goes, "The midterm is a performance, but we already picked people. So, no, you have to write a essay." And I'm like, come on, like, all you did was pick people. Like, I could still be a part of it. Nope, you have to write this essay. I write this essay, and it gets flagged for plagiarism.
Do you love delicious drinks that are made with all natural ingredients? Then you're gonna want to try Coco Vida Coquito, the Puerto Rican version of an eggnog that tastes even better. This delicious drink is made with fresh ground cinnamon, pure vanilla, and coconut, and it's perfect for any occasion. Whether you're having a party with friends or just want to relax at home, Coco Vida Coquito will give you that holiday feeling all year round. You can get your hands on a bottle right now by going to cocovidacoquito.com and by entering the promo code KBGB to receive 10% off your next purchase. So what are you waiting for? Head over to Coco Vida Coquito's Instagram page, give them a follow to stay up to date on all their latest deals and events. And don't forget to order your bottle today and taste the richness and the love of Puerto Rico in every sip.
They go, I'm like, I didn't plagiarize. They go, well, we're going to take you to this hearing. I do the hearing. They go, well, it's unintentional plagiarism. It's like, what is that? There's like, how else could you say the dog died without saying the dog died? I was like, well, that's what I'm saying. They're like, well, you should have put quotations. I was like, but that's my summary of what happened. And because of that, it ends up giving me an F. I have to take the Q course. And my mother was like, wow. I'm leaving South Carolina, where I was at school, with a 3.3 grade point average, to now being at Stony Brook, this really prestigious school, and have a 1.9. And she's like livid.
Right.
And because she's like, I just lost my mother. My son's not doing well in school. You got to pick this up. So I start the next semester like on a path, like a war path. I'm not in the dorm I want to be in. The dorm that I'm in is like, it's breaking apart.
Everything going wrong.
Everything is just not going wrong. Except I have now transitioned to being big man on campus. I'm at every party. I'm at every fashion show, play. People want to know me. And I recognize that I was able to get through that semester with friends. I was like, people got me through that semester.
Can't do it by yourself.
Can't do it by yourself. When I transferred to that school, my thought process was, I'm coming here to be alone and get my degree. I'm not talking to anyone. And my grandmother's passing shook me out of that. The Q course thing, the plagiarism thing, shook me out of that. And now for the rest of the time there, I'm like the person to know. I have tons of friends, tons of associates.
Definitely understand that.
And it clicked for me. It was like, my superpower is my ability to be social. Because like you were saying earlier, you get to this space where you almost start feeling like you're an island, and like you feel stuck, and you feel like I got to do things on my own, when the only way success exists is through the eyes of other people.
Boom. Nuggets. Message.
It's like, I could listen to myself as the dopest person on earth, but until you listen to me as the dopest person on earth, what happens, it only exists here.
Yeah.
And it's not making an
crazy,
impact.
right? And I want to add to that. So Jamila and I right now, we're doing some coaching with some people, and we use, things we learned outside, of course, inside. So one thing we learned as a culture is that in school, looking at other people's papers is cheating. Right? But when you come out of that and now start working, start a business and everything like that, we need to work together.
Correct.
Right?
You have to collaborate.
To go far, because alone we'll go fast, together we'll go far.
Correct.
Right? But then not knowing that, when people start to, because we work with a lot of small businesses and financial coaching, is that people still have that mentality of working alone, and they start struggling and don't know why.
Oh yeah.
Right?
You don't know.
So then
Good.
so then when we start talking about, well, what we need to do is we need to start networking. But what does that look like? It's not just shaking somebody's hand.
Correct.
Right? We have to add value to people.
Yes.
And people start adding value to us.
Correct.
Right? And then we need to start looking at what the sponsorships and partnerships look like.
Correct.
Right? But now, again, people, that's been ingrained since first grade. Don't look at other people. You can't help each other. That's cheating.
Yeah.
When now, 30 years later, we need to cheat to get ahead.
Oh yeah.
You have to do it together. Like you have to duplicate. You have to do what other people are doing. You have to take what they are doing and make it your own. Like how you took both sides and you made it your own. You have to do that. You cannot just say, I'm gonna figure it out myself. I'm gonna make my own thing. No. Yeah. You have to use everyone else and build with them.
We love as a society, we love the superhero mentality. I get to be Batman. I get to tough it all. Yeah. And I have a mentor, one of my coaches, and he says this thing to me all the time. He goes, when you get stuck, start looking at who you've been a contribution to this week. Who have you mentored this week the moment you get stuck? Who have you supported this week? Because what I've noticed, especially taking a lot of these personal development and professional development courses, is they'll put someone on the hot seat and they'll have a conversation with them in front of like the whole room of people.
We've been there.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And then while you're sitting in the seat, you get the transformation that they're getting when they're up there, because for the first time, you get to see yourself from the outside.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, wow, I do that craziness. And then it shifts something for you and you go, perfect. Now I get to listen to their conversation as I am you and you are me.
Right.
Type
so
situation.
Powerful.
Now, people always tell each other what to do and what they shouldn't be doing, but it's hard for a lot of people because they don't know how to do things. They don't know the plan. They don't have a strategy. So having these conversations more, you're giving people that how to versus just go do this.
Correct. I always tell people the first thing that we do when I'm working with any client is create a list. I want you to create 5 to 10 people. 5 to 10 people who you can talk to about this topic or any topic. 5 to 10 people who can always pick up the phone. So you ended up with a list of people around you that are always in your space, so you don't feel alone.
Support system.
Like that's the first thing you start with. So now, once they have that, it's like, all right, so now we're gonna create what it is that you want to look like, what is it you want to be like, who you want to be at the end of this, and now we work our way backwards from that.
I love that.
And because now it's like when you plan stuff forward, you're hoping, you're wishing, like it may happen, and then what happens if you run into a roadblock, you go, you start taking it as a sign that it's not supposed to work.
Maybe it doesn't work for me. Yeah.
But if you knew that at December 31st, you were going to have $10 million regardless, when you ran into the roadblock, you'd be like, oh, okay, I guess that's just out the way. And you keep moving.
And you have to think
because
like that.
I know it's going to happen. It just ain't happened yet. It's not even November yet. Don't worry, I got this.
Right.
But what happens is that people pray for it and forget to take action.
Correct.
You have to put the work in.
Correct.
And now just switching gears just a little bit, but first tying in what you said. So actually, looking at one of your posts, right? You was talking about discipline. And when you was talking about discipline, right, you was just talking about meal prepping.
Yes.
And with the meal prepping, what I love is what you said is that the reason why you meal prep is because you're planning your days ahead versus just winging it.
Correct.
Right? So what does that look like meal prepping and the discipline, and why people should meal prep?
I mean, well, if you look at like society right now, the reason why we can charge so much for fees with Grubhub and all those types of places is because of the fact that they know everyone's going to eat out.
They want it now.
It's like in 1960s, ordering food wasn't a thing. So to order food, it was like people to give you like, if we don't get it there in time, you get it free. Now they're like 28 minutes late. And it's like, you still owe us, and they still want a tip. So
and you gotta pay before they get there.
and you gotta pay before they get there. So it's like with me, when it came to discipline for meal prepping, it was like, all right, I remember the days when I would go out to work and I wouldn't meal prep or bring food or even think about what I was gonna eat, and I get caught out there randomly hungry. You can't fight cravings. Cravings are they're hormonal, they're emotional, they're very strong. So I end up buying like a whole pie or buying a sandwich just because I know it's gonna make me feel good because I wasn't ahead of the plan.
Yeah.
So what I started realizing was like, all right, on the days when I would bring like a pack of oatmeal in the morning, all right, that means I already knew that I was gonna have that, so I didn't have to go buy the bacon, egg, and cheese or whatever it is I was gonna make, or buy the healthy smoothie that's like $15, $20. I couldn't do any of that. I was like, I already have my oatmeal here. I already have my fruits. Perfect. That's already set. When I had my lunches already set, I knew what time my workouts were going to be. I knew what times I wasn't going to take clients because my lunch was already set there. It created a structure for me by me already having it to eat it, as opposed to going, all right, it's lunch or it's about lunchtime.
What I'm going to have, I got to figure it out.
Do I want to spend $20?
How hungry am I?
Exactly. And then because I work as a trainer and massage therapist, like people don't want massages midday. They want massages after work. There's some people who go, I can't train until after 6 o'clock. So now I'm basically in a space of doing the same thing for dinner. And now I'm like, did I already spend $10 at breakfast, $20 at lunch? And now it's time for dinner.
Yeah.
Was dinner going to be $50? I don't want to do that as well. So now I was like, all right, well, at least if I'm prepping breakfast and lunch, I can take my time with dinner. I can say, you know what? Well, what do I want to eat in the area? Because of course I'm not going to want to walk around like a bodybuilder with bags all the time full of food.
Yeah.
But it allows me to go, I'm going to financially prep better. I'm going to emotionally prep better. And at the same time, I'm going to actually be ahead of how I want my nutrition to look.
Yeah.
And a lot of times this is what's in my space when I'm thinking about my nutrition is this. We think a lot of health conditions are due to the fact that you kind of got the luck of the draw. My genetics, my family, my race, all these things. And like high blood pressure. High blood pressure is not a ailment that just happens. It is literally a fix that the body has created for you from a problem you didn't realize you had.
Yeah.
So what happens is when you have high blood pressure, the body goes, every time you eat food, that nutrients goes into the blood. So there's supposed to be a specific amount of nutrients per volume of blood. But when you're eating fast food that doesn't have a lot of nutrients in it, your volume of blood doesn't have a lot of nutrients in it. So your body goes, well, create more blood so we can have more nutrients. So now that extra amount of blood that your body's created, your body experiences as high blood pressure in the valves and in the veins and things like that. And we go, oh my gosh, you're just having too much salt. No, it's your body telling you that your meals aren't nutrient dense enough. So I go, all right, well, if I know that, then let me start creating nutrient dense foods to bring with me. So when I do have something that's not as healthy or that's made outside for dinner or for lunch rather, any one of those times, at least I've put myself ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Got it. So when you're training people, do you ask these type of questions like, do you have high blood pressure? Do you have diabetes?
Yeah.
So this way you can meal prep, or do you just give them like, this is the base of meal prep. Just make sure you have brown rice, quinoa, salmon, vegetables for this, or do you really like, what does sitting with somebody as far as the meal goes before we get to the fitness and the weights?
Yeah.
Like, what does that look like when you're meeting with somebody as far as the meal prepping goes?
What's so interesting about that is this. I don't give any diet plans. I don't give one diet plan. And the reason for that is this.
That word.
You're not going to get what to eat from me. And the reason is because of bio-individuality. And what that means is your body, her body, his body, my body, everybody's body is completely different, and we're going to respond differently to specific foods. Case in point, there was a client that we had once at our gym, and she had a nutritionist, and her nutritionist had given her a specific set of foods to eat, combination of things to eat in the morning. Blueberries, granola, Greek yogurt, all of these different things. And for like 2 to 3 months, this woman would get put through the ringer with workouts constantly. And she was like, I can't figure out why I'm not gaining weight, why I'm not losing weight. Like I'm doing the treadmill, I'm doing cardio, you guys are killing me 5 days a week, but I'm not losing anything. Yeah. And I remember us saying, like, I wonder if like it's like something she's eating. And it's like, you know what, she probably just needs to get like a blood test. So she gets the blood test. Turns out the combination of the granola, blueberries, and yogurt was creating some type of inflammatory response in her body.
Crazy.
So all of that weight she wasn't losing was just allergic reaction to what she was eating daily. So she stops eating it. A month later, she drops like 9 to 12 pounds.
Just by eating eating her regular?
Just taking that out.
She's taking that out. Like, because she was eating healthier before. She wasn't eating bad. She was eating from the nutritionist. The thing is, when you don't get a blood test done before getting a meal plan, you have no idea what your body has allergies to.
Wow.
So you can continue to eat these foods and not understand that you're not losing weight or you're not gaining because the combination of things that you're eating can affect you.
Yeah.
And we don't learn about the combination. What we learn is, well, these foods do this and these foods do that. But there's a reason why they tell you not to have melons while you have actual regular food. Like eating chicken and watermelons is probably one of the worst things to do because the way the body responds is like, if it recognizes melons have come into the system, it will push off to the side whatever it was digesting prior to digest the melon. So now the other thing is just sitting in your system.
So melons take priority.
Yeah, because they're nutrient dense and the body goes,
this is what I wanted. Hold on.
Hold on, playboy. So what I do is I teach people how to eat. When you come and work with me, I go, this is what the body's doing during specific times. Between 6 a.m. and 11 a.m., your body's on the detox schedule. So all it wants to do during that time is eliminate. So what you get to do is support the elimination process. Water, teas, fruits. That supports the elimination process. Then after that, from noon to about 4 or 5, your body's in the absorption process. It wants protein, it wants carbs, it wants all of the food that we can put in, all the good stuff. And it's the time where your body has the most amount of time to digest things. When your body's going to sleep, it's about to go to sleep and go to rest. It doesn't want to continue to be digesting things. This is the time for your body to put in carbs and dark leafy greens. This is where your vegetables come into like a real big play. Why? Because now it's preparing your body for the morning when you're going to do the elimination process all over again.
And the leafy and, Mythbusters, right? So you tell me. So, because, the internet has so many things out there, right? So tell me if this is correct. So from the leafy greens, is it because it has like high in fibers and everything like that?
It's more of the chlorophyll.
Chlorophyll.
It's more the chlorophyll. It's like you want to get the nutrients from it, and then the chlorophyll. Like the great thing about chlorophyll is that your body, it's basically what your blood is, except it has, I think what it is, I think it's magnesium. It's one of the things because I think we have iron. It's basically this.
I think it is magnesium.
Is it magnesium?
Yeah, it is.
It's like there's like so one element that's different.
It is magnesium. I had to,
And then it's like for us, it's iron that we have, and because we end up having it, it gives us the magnesium into our system. It actually ends up being one of the best things. Even if you get concentrated chlorophyll,
the liquid,
oh my gosh! Like my daughter had like an infection on her finger once. I just wrapped her hand in gauze, and in 4 days it was like completely healed.
Oh wait, so now I got a question. So right, so Jay and I, we do take chlorophyll, liquid chlorophyll, but we usually take all our like healthy liquids like mushrooms and the chlorophyll in the morning. So should I be taking the chlorophyll at night then before bed?
You can. You can never overdo chlorophyll.
Okay.
Like that's the one thing. It's like how they talk about was it sea moss?
So you want me to turn green?
You literally like your body's just gonna end up with more magnesium in the system. And the thing is for just humans in general, because we're always in a stressed state, the activity of stress period depletes your magnesium stores like immediately. So when your body gets, the moment you find stress, whether it's like a dog attacking you or your bill is late,
You know what? I got too much. I ate too much chlorophyll. I'm gonna go look at my bills. I'll be right back.
And it's like the moment you stress, your magnesium stores completely deplete. And what happens is what your body does is because it knows that you can't have magnesium stores too low for too long, it'll draw magnesium from your bones and from your muscles. And the reason is if it's low for too long, you immediately go into a heart attack. So it goes, oh, okay, we're not going to do that. So it just draw magnesium from the bones, draw from the muscles. So now your bones get weaker.
I don't get that.
Oh, man.
Your muscles get more tired. So what we do is like everyone is magnesium deficient because everyone is stressed, especially in this this time frame. Yeah. So what we do is like have more of the foods, have more of your magnesium supplements, things like that. Or I always tell people just do an Epsom salt bath.
Oh yeah, it does have magnesium. Right.
I didn't really think of it like that.
Your skin is the biggest organ on your body.
Right.
So when people, the Epsom salt bath is probably the most underrated health piece in the world.
I forgot about it myself.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
You guys remember that science experiment we used to do in school where you put like ink in a little bag and then you put it in another little thing of water and you watch the ink come out through the bag?
Yeah.
So that happens with the body when you're sitting in an Epsom salt bath. So when you're sitting in that water for over 20 minutes, what happens is your body doesn't know the difference between your bloodstream and that water because the pH are the same. So all the toxins that are in your system come out through your pores into that water, and all the magnesium that's in the water goes through your pores into your body, which is the reason why the body gets so exhausted after Epsom salt bath. And you want to sleep.
You go right to sleep.
Yeah.
Because this
Wow.
all this magnesium
That's crazy.
in the
Changing
system,
it up.
and now the system is no longer stressed, and it just had a massive detox. So the body's like, shut down, go to sleep. And the same
I
thing
need to
happens.
Recharge.
Wow.
That's what Caribbean people talk about. Go take a sea bath. Because the same thing happens in the ocean.
Oh, snap. Now it's starting to click.
Right. So they knew it, but we just didn't know why they did it.
So that's the thing. Knowing why changes so much. That's why, like, I ask questions a lot, and people are like, well, just do it. You're supposed to do this. No, I like to know why. Because then it changes how I react to it.
Yo, it changes why we want to go to the beach. Why we think going to the beach is so relaxing.
And
because it actually
right, and
is.
why every time you go to the beach, you want to go home and you tired. Or everybody blames it on the sun. It's not the sun.
It's not the sun.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's like that magnesium thing is huge.
Guys, go make sure you get some. So what's other ways you could, before we switch gears, what's other ways you can get magnesium? So you said the Epsom salt bath,
leafy greens,
the leafy greens, the liquid chlorophyll. Is there anything else, or those are like the big, major, easiest thing?
So,
another hack.
What women love. This is the women hack. This is the reason why the moment they hit this cycle, they start to crave the chocolate. So chocolate is a magnesium.
That's why I like dark chocolate. I love dark chocolate.
So
maybe that's why
their bodies are going through that, and it's recognizing that, oh my gosh, I'm low on magnesium, and they're extremely low on magnesium
because they're losing iron too, right?
So now their body goes, I'll sit here and eat all of this chocolate. One is providing the comfort mentally, emotionally, but at the same time you're getting that magnesium, and now your body's like,
could we always feel better once you get that chocolate?
Okay. So it's like,
got it. So
now
dark
I don't feel bad about eating
liquid
chocolate.
chlorophyll, leafy greens, Epsom salt bath.
Epsom salt
nice,
baths.
and these are easy obtainable things people can do like right now.
Correct. I'm always about what you can do that's not tied to a product, because I used to suffer from migraines heavily. Like my mom did, everybody in my family did, and I remember when I went pro, that was the time when they took off a specific one off the shelves, and it was like recalled for like 2 years. And now I'm a person who suffers from migraines, and the only thing that works is no longer available. And I was in Barbados at the time, and I remember learning about the sea bath. I remember learning about if I had a certain amount of coconut water, that it would actually reset my blood level and pH to where I was born. So I think it's like if you have 12 coconuts back to back, it'll actually reset your blood pH to the level of when you were born.
I can drink.
Is that kind of like an apple a day, like a coconut a day?
It's like, but they're talking about
no.
one sip.
You know how you tell me don't drink the whole liter of coconut water?
Yeah.
Oh no, I could drink the whole liter now.
Yeah, those coconut water is expensive.
It's
right?
good.
But see, this is the thing. You also got to think manufactured versus like the actual coconut from the tree.
You're right.
Listen, can we stick to fitness?
Let's go.
Let me stop. But so this is let me see, last two things before I want to switch to fitness too, because I want to talk about the weights and everything. But so thinking about the magnesium and the input output, right? Actually, this morning you was talking about earthing, and I kind of thought about that same process with earthing. So can you explain earthing and how that works?
So we're in a technological age now. Everything that we are around has an electromagnetic field. And every time you come into contact with an electromagnetic field, it will change how your physiology responds and is responding for the rest of the day. So we have cell phones, laptops, surge protectors, TVs, all of these different things, Wi-Fi. They're constantly bombarding us with all of these different types of like electrons, neutrons, all those different things. So when you touch a tree, when you stand barefoot in the grass without your shoes, what your body is doing is allowing the earth, which is a bigger magnetic field, to absorb all of those things from your body.
It grounds you, literally.
So what ends up happening is now you become in this space of like, I think when they did the study, and the way they did the study is they tested someone's blood. They said, all right, let's test their blood before we pick them outside. And when they looked at the blood, it was like clumped, clotted. It was like moving very slow through the vessels. And they had them go outside for 10 minutes, and then they had them come back inside. They came back inside, they pricked it again, and all the blood's just like flowing.
10 minutes.
Crazy.
And it just goes to show, like, one, we're water. Blood is water. Like, all these cells in our body are water. And if you put frequencies, any electromagnetic frequency next to water, it will change the way that water behaves. So it's doing the same thing in your body, just on a grand scale.
That's crazy.
You're not paying attention. You don't realize what's going on. You
don't realize it unless you're being highly aware. Because now you start to think about, well, how did my emotions change? How I thought I was very energetic, but I remember getting real sleepy after just leaving that room where all the electromagnetic stuff was. So at my job when I was at David Barton, we had this closet that we were all sleeping when it was time to go take a nap. It was the electronic closet. So it was where all of the Wi-Fi centers and surge protectors for the entire building were. And we would always sleep in this room. 4 years we slept there. And I remember coming out there being exhausted, but it would make me think that I just had really good sleep. And it wasn't until I found out about earthing and grounding, I was like, this room was like destroying me. Like I was in a microwave.
That was the epicenter of everything.
Like,
you know that's how the microwave was founded, right?
No.
Like so somebody was in more or less, right? I don't know the like true story, but more or less somebody was like in a studio like this. But of course back then they had everything electronic, right? So what he had was his like sandwich right by all the machines, and when he came to it during lunch, he would see like the cheese was melted and never knew why.
That's insane.
And then discovered it was because I know, right? And it was discovered because all the electromagnetic from all these machines stacked was getting these microwaves to the sandwich.
But it's so interesting to me because that's how so many things are made by this. They always go, we have this pill and it helps you grow your hair back. But they were trying to like cure lawns.
That's not what it was for.
They were like, oh, this. I remember like they talk about like all the male enhancement pills. I remember those pills were meant to do something else, and they just happened to find out
it's
that
like, oh, it worked for that. Cool.
All right, it's marketed for that.
So crazy.
So it's so interesting, and I remember finding out the statistic that electricians have the lowest lifespans.
Oh, wow.
Because they spend their entire work life dealing with different electromagnetic fields. So it's constantly distorting their natural field.
Oh, wow.
And the longest lifespan is a beekeeper.
Oh, yeah, I know about that one. I know that.
That's so crazy.
And it's like because bees don't fly, they levitate. So they emit a frequency that allows their body to float.
Yeah.
And that frequency, when you're working around it all the time, is actually
absorb
helping.
And
your
it's,
body.
I know about that. That is
crazy.
crazy. Yeah.
So it's like, oh my God. It's like when you find out what's going on in the world, you start looking at things differently.
Now I'm gonna go contribute to saving the bees.
Yeah.
Now, because that's a real thing, right?
See why
Saving
I
the
love
bees.
natural. Like I don't get
Natural
honey
honey?
from the
Yeah.
stores. I hate honey from the stores, but I go to the farmers market and get that raw. That's my favorite.
Actually, there's out here in Long Island, your bee lady. I don't know the
Oh,
name.
she is over here.
Yeah. What is her name? The company. It's at home, but I don't know it off the top of my head.
I get caught off guard and I can't.
My
think
bad.
now.
My bad.
Bee lady will find you.
No, but there's
can't think
so
right
we
now.
get honey. I don't know the name. It's on our products at home, but she's out in Long Island, but she sells, how I say it, natural honey straight from the bee's butt, and she infuses like natural ginger, natural pollen, natural
Elderberry, turmeric.
and everything like
It's
that.
amazing.
And actually, she's the reason why. So this is the first year I had allergies. I never had allergies before.
Honey grams.
Honey grams. There you go.
It just
honey
popped up.
grams.
Sorry.
With a Z at the end, guys. Honey grams. So first time I had allergies. So we went. Jay went up to her and was like, he got allergies. What can we do? And they would like take 3 pollens a day, see how your body reacts, and then eventually take a little bit more up to a teaspoon. Once you get up to a teaspoon, take a teaspoon a day.
Okay.
I did that for a month. Gone. Like I never. I mean, it still comes back a little bit, but
overall,
gone.
yeah.
See, it's
Overall, gone.
I love my bees.
And I took the teaspoon of honey with cinnamon and cayenne.
I still run from bees, but I love bees.
I was like, listen, I'm gonna put the jacket on, whatever that little white thing they have with the hat,
and just stand just like this,
stand
right?
there.
I'll be scared. I'm gonna be honest.
Listen,
I don't like the things crawling on me, so I'll freak out.
You know what it is? I don't think for me is like them crawling on me. Yeah, I'll be a freak, but it's the noise because you'll just hear.
I think if I have the suit on, I'll be fine. My thing is this: if one gets in,
It's over.
I'm gonna panic and I'm gonna knock the whole thing off, and then all of them gonna get in.
And they like to go in your mouth and everything. Oh,
I seen that movie My Girl, and when Macaulay Culkin, yo, I've been afraid of bees since.
No.
But
And then you had what's his name, with all the bees? Scary movie. When we was young. Candyman.
Oh yeah. Listen, he was chewing on those bees. I don't know how he did that scene.
Y'all can have that.
See, that's when they need a CGI.
So you ain't putting that on me.
I was like, listen, I'm not gonna be. That's not when I'm
They
gonna be
be
Jackie
having-
Chan and be my own stunt man.
They be having coming stunt devils, and some people do it. Like I don't know if they did it on like Fear Factor or one of those shows.
Nope.
And they be doing the whole arm thing too, and they be the whole arm thing is when they hold the queen
Oh
in
yeah.
their hand,
And they all get on
the
your.
bees flock to protect the queen.
Oh my God! And squash it, and they all stab.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
I can't do that.
You're straight gone.
See, nope. But it's interesting. You said something earlier. We talk about allergies, and the reason why allergies exist are because in our cities we only plant male trees. Female trees produce fruit. Male trees produce
It's
pollen.
always the females, right?
Of course.
Ain't it the females?
Wait, don't finish your sentence.
No, I'm
I
not
thought
going
you was gonna
there.
say
I was just gonna
something.
say because he says female plants, but ain't that the same with like weed? Not being funny. The weed is the one where you get the THC, and you.
So, it's like, so think of it. In a forest, you have trees that give you pollen, and then you have trees that bear fruit.
So it's the males that kill us, huh?
So because
This is why I won the battle.
in our inner cities, it has been engineered to only plant male trees because we want to control the supermarket and food population.
Selfish.
Because
Sounds
of
like
capitalism.
a sexist conversation.
Selfish.
It's literally it's like because
It is,
of
though.
capitalism, what we've done is we've placed
Who
we
ran
created
that?
allergies.
Selfish.
Wow.
Because all you need to do is plant female trees that bear fruit, and all that pollen would just go to the tree to make more fruit.
Look at that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, all these guys running around.
And it's
all
like,
these guy trees running
and it's
around.
like just you saying that, I'm thinking about everything connected to a female, right? So they give birth, they give life.
Yeah. And it goes why you go to other countries and you don't feel your allergies. Because there's not that much pollen, because there's tons of female trees. You walk down the streets in Jamaica or in the Caribbean and there's pick a mango, pick a this, plantain, blah, blah, blah. All these things.
So
Changes
their
again.
backyards have female trees. Our backyards has male trees.
Selfish.
Well, they have both. They have both, and we just got one.
Man,
See?
that's
You just proving
crazy.
why I'm better than y'all. That's it.
Nah. There was no fruit producing. There was no fruit producing off that, off those dances and stuff. But but switching gears, right? Because we definitely want to give people some more nuggets about fitness. But now that we're talking, we went mindset, we went nutrition. I want to go to the weights in the gym, things that everybody frayed away from, and I want to start this segment with one of your very own quotes, which I love. Right. And I want to break this down, is that you said that raising the weight isn't the only way to progress. Sometimes the goal needs a smarter approach.
Yes.
Did you know you said that? You look. Nah, let me
It was
stop.
interesting. I was like, which quote is he gonna go by? You know,
So-
it's interesting because when people will quote you, you'll feel like, man, like who was that who said that? I
Right?
said that.
So you said that. So I just want to first talk about, now getting into the gym or even working out at home with or without weights. Like, and I know everybody is different, but what did you mean
by that?
by a smarter approach? Because everybody wants to lift heavy or assume that they need to lift heavy.
So there's layers to that particular quote, and the layers are this. There are several ways to progress when you are working out. You can raise the resistance, which is raising the weight. You can increase the amount of time that you're under a specific resistance, which is just slowing down the weight, the time that you're actually lifting that weight intentionally. Or there are what we just call changing the angles, or you actually just keep things under resistance, like holding it. So a lot of times when I'm training clients, there's things that I'll do where I'll say, well, we're going to do only 10 reps, but for every rep is going to take 10 seconds to complete.
I felt that.
Versus me going, you know what, we're just going to move you from 20 to 30 pounds.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And the reason that I do that is, one, for people who are just now starting the workout process, their biggest fear is just getting injured, especially when it comes to weights, because they hear about all these people who get injured lifting weights. So that's their fear. So I'll go, we're going to work with 10 pounds when 10 pounds is challenging. And the moment that I realize that 10 pounds isn't challenging, I just changed the approach. Now you have to now slow down, master 10 pounds slow. Now you have to master 10 pounds with a pause. And by the time that you've mastered all of those and I move you to 20, you feel mentally and emotionally strong enough to handle 20. Because a lot of times you're just fighting people's emotions.
Yeah.
It's the most raw human place you'll ever be.
Yeah.
Because it's painful, it's addressing your fears, it's addressing your vulnerabilities, your insecurities. So my goal when I'm training people is always to make sure that I give them the power to be behind the steering wheel.
Positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to get the 10. We're going to master the 10 under 3 different settings. And then we'll move to the 20. We're going to master that under 3 different settings. So by the time you get to a weight that you originally thought was impossible, I know, I'm not guessing. I know you can handle it.
Yeah.
So when I give you 50 to 60 or 70 pounds, now you're like, okay, I know that I can do this because the process that we've gone through, this means that I'm in the second part of the process, like where I'm just lifting the weight and now I'm doing it slower. And all of those things help people out because it allows them to now have a structure for fulfillment. Like, oh, okay, when I'm going to get myself to being able to be in the gym and lift heavy weights, the moment that I recognize this thing is heavy, I'm going to go through my regular reps, and then I'm going to slow it down. And you can literally change that throughout the workout or throughout your week. So it's like those are the ways to master the body and how to master those programs. And you work at it a smarter way as opposed to the brute force ways of just keep pushing past.
Always trying to like.
Yeah. It's more about the mindset versus the weight versus the actual action. When you change the mindset, no matter what you put in front of them, they can do it because they have that confidence now. Yeah. But you have to change the mindset. Yeah. Like everything from the food, the health, like everything you've been talking about so far, everything boils down to the mindset. The mindset. Like you have to really work on the mindset. And people forget. People use that as last. That's the first thing that you have to work on.
And the thing is with mindset is you will never be in a space where those fears are gone. What will happen is you go from those fears controlling you to being aware of them to going, wow, they're controlling me for a week. They're controlling me for a day. They're controlling me for an hour. I instantaneously caught the thought about to control me, and I've been able to change something. And that's how it works. So they always talk about this thing. My mentor, if you guys ever get a chance to come to the city, Inc. East, it's called Initium Novum Club. It's on 75th between 2nd and 3rd Avenue. His motto is training is a metaphor for life. It's like, as you do things in training, it allows you to, it mirrors the way life works for you. Yeah. So you can actually start to see like, oh, like you were saying earlier, it's mindset going along with the training. It's mindset going along with the nutrition. It's mindset going along with all of these different things that allow you to go, all right, I've now, because I've mastered being under 200 pounds, I now know what it feels like to be under pressure. I know what it feels like to be under a space of fear and still accomplish something. I know what it feels like to be in a space where I think it's impossible to get something done, and I do it 3 times after.
Right.
Yep. It's kind of like well, you know the whole cold shower method. Like once your body's under stress, under the cold shower, you're actually preparing your body for real stress. Yeah. So does that translate to weights as well? Like you put your body under stress with weights, so now outside of the gym you can handle that same stress.
Correct. I used to joke with a client of mine. I would say, he'd be like, "Why do you squat?" I was like, "I'm a black man. I'm a black man with the weight of the weight of the world on his shoulders. Of course, I got to squat. It's like it makes the world lighter for me."
I like that.
But it's like the whole idea is that as you push yourself in one setting, it allows you to recognize your ability to push yourself other places. Yeah. Like when you're an expert in something, you recognize the expertise in other people because of how far it took you into your field. So it's like, oh man, because I'm so great at coaching or I'm so great at training, when I see a dancer, I'm like, wow, she's a master at her body. When I see a race car driver, wow, he's a master at that craft. When I see somebody captivate a room, I'm like, wow, they're a master at communication. You start to recognize this. Like it leaves, what they say, success leaves clues.
Yeah, success leaves clues. Success leaves clues. And it's crazy, right? Because this was one of my questions too. Just in the gym and everything, like you said, you were squatting, right? So I was watching your IG live, and you were squatting like nothing. But when you came to one of your reps, you stopped, and he was like, "I'm gonna put the weights down." And the reason why is because I'm listening to my body.
Yes.
So what are like, when I'm at the gym, you know, people are feeling in pain, ankle, but they're still trying to push past it because they think, oh, okay, I'm just under stress. Yeah. But how can you determine stress versus I'm about to hurt myself? Because like you said, people hurt themselves at the gym, especially the beginners.
Correct.
So what does listening to your, if you can put it into words, like what does listening to your body look like or feel like?
So even as a trainer, like there's specific questions you'll ask. You're like, they're like, this hurts. You're like, all right, are you feeling a sharp hurt, like a knife? Are you feeling like a burning? Do you feeling something electricity? No, I'm just like, it's like it's tired, it's burning. Oh, so that's the normal hurt. Got it. That's the thing that continues to keep growing things. But when you feel something electric, when you feel something like a sharp shooting pain, those are things that tell you that something's wrong. Or when you're in a space of knowing what you're supposed to be feeling, you go, well, no, I'm not feeling that. Like for me today, what was happening was the moment I went under that weight, the first thing that I felt grab was not any of my muscles in my legs and my glutes or my back. It was my pelvic floor, like right in the perineum. And I was like, got it.
Yeah.
This is my body preparing for survival.
So you better listen to me now, or you're gonna be
Or
sorry.
you gonna be paying for it.
Right. And like because I've torn my pelvic floor and all these different things, like I know the moment that I felt that, I was like, this isn't where my body wants to be right now. And I can of course I can push past here. The only thing past here is either an injury or discomfort for the rest of the day.
Right.
So I was like, all right, well, there's nothing to prove. And I think that's probably the biggest thing in fitness is there's nothing to prove.
Wow.
It's literally...
Like, say that again, because people think they have to prove it. Right. Prove everything.
Yeah, in fitness, in health, there is nothing to prove.
Wow.
You have another day to lift. You have all of this time, because all you're doing is basically you're in a conversation with your body. Now, this is the thing. When you're in a dictatorship with your body, we clearly know how dictatorships run. No one's happy. And that's what happens with your body. Your body becomes unhappy.
So we become a dictator of our body beyond what we're supposed to be doing. And then we make the body unhappy, and that's how it reacts.
Oh, yeah. After I went through this breakup in, I think, 2018. And I remember, like, through 2018, 2019, I used to, like, torture myself in the gym. Like, people would watch me from afar, and they would be like,
what's wrong with him?
What's going on? But for me, it was me trying to feel more pain physically than I was feeling emotionally.
Trying to erase that.
And I was like, I mean, I couldn't listen to music with words. Like, my music was superhero and supervillain music.
Yeah.
That was it, just tones. I think I listened to the Jiren from Dragon Ball Super. I listened to his theme song on repeat for 10, 20, 2 hours sometimes, just lifting, because for me, I needed to physically feel something. And I remember at that point, like, I looked amazing physically, but internally, I was in shambles. And I started to get, like, how important it was to be able to listen to my body and have the conversation with it, as opposed to telling it what to do all the time.
So what do you do for the people who are listening? So what do you do when those things happen? Do I switch my workouts? Do I just stop? Do I go to the next workout? Like,
when you get to the space of like feeling something show up in your body. So there's always, you don't always have to change the workout or the exercise. Sometimes you have to change your intention. So I didn't change, as you saw, I didn't change the workout.
Are you feeling overwhelmed with your finances? Do you feel like you're barely making it paycheck to paycheck? Or are you unsure where your money is going each month? Maybe you're drowning in debt and don't know how to get out? Or you're struggling to find the right insurance for you and your family? Perhaps you're just thinking about retirement and worried that you don't have enough saved up. Fear no more, because help is here. United Agency is a financial firm who can help you put a plan in place for all of those things. And the best part is completely complimentary. That's right, we want to help you get ahead financially and in life, because you deserve it. Whether you need help with budgeting, saving, tracking your money, finding the right insurance policies, planning your kids' education, building wealth, retirement planning, or estate planning to protect your assets and your family's future, our team is here to help you. Click the link in the show notes to schedule a one-on-one and take control of your finances and your future. Keep listening. We'll see you soon.
I went back to a lower weight, and I started to concentrate on what it was that I was feeling. Push the hips back, push the knees wide. I want to drop my nose straight down as opposed to dropping my nose forward, and those were my concentration tools. That's what no one was seeing, or that no one knew about what was happening.
Because all I heard you say was, oh, I have to listen to my body. You took off a weight, and that's it. I'm like, well, he's just doing the same thing. Like,
right. And that's the great thing about when you watch like master trainers and anything that they do. It's super simple. It's super simple. A master trainer in finance is not giving you a whole bunch of bells and whistles. They go, these are the steps to financial health, period. a master in like anything intellectual. If you wanted to teach me anything that you're a master at, you have it broken down into simple steps.
You have to talk like you're talking to a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
Yep.
We always say speak client, not science.
Yep. And that's exactly what we do when we financial coaching people. We're like, just do this, and it sounds so simple, but they struggle with that step.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We're like, listen, just sometimes, I'll give you an example. Sometimes we do tracking and budgeting for people, and we know, we don't say it, but we know it's going to get super emotional. So before they want to get to XYZ, we say, okay, ABC is look at your bank account and just write the numbers down. That's all you got to do is copy it over.
Yes.
Right. And they can't get through that because now they're looking like, yeah, my rent is this. Yeah, my phone bill. Ooh, I bought this Amazon for $300. Should I? Right. And they stop and they get all
They don't wanna
fidgety
add
and
it.
everything.
It's like,
Right.
well, I didn't add, add everything. No, but this was different because, no, added. It's
Like,
okay.
we have to focus. This is the laser focus part. And then when we get past that part, then we can get to C, D, and E.
Yeah.
So definitely.
The challenge starts to become, for everyone doing anything, is they go, it has to be complicated, because if it wasn't, I would have had it already. It has to, like,
Bars.
I was going to say it again.
yeah, it's like, that's the whole idea. People go, success has to be complicated, because if it wasn't, everybody be successful. Fitness and having that body has to be hard, because if not, everyone would have that body.
Yeah.
When there was a point in time where most of us had this body, and it was simple because it was just the regular, normal, day-to-day movements.
Yeah. And you know what? You saying that too, because there's 2 or 3 things I want to get to before we wind down and wrap up, is that so people also always think they need to be an hour and a half at the gym and everything, right?
Yeah.
And then you have these like T25s, right, with Sean T, who had like 30-minute workouts, got results. But I seen that you had 15-minute workouts that people could do. So does time really make a difference? Like what is the mindset behind that and everything? Because I'm like, 15 minutes, I'm not going to get nothing out of 15 minutes.
Actually.
So with that, it's efficiency. And anything over an hour is overkill. You're overtraining the body. And there are people who have overtrained enough that overtraining has become their normal. They're the outliers.
Okay.
Those are the outliers. Anything past an hour is too much, especially if you're training efficient. Now, when I create something like a 15-minute workout, I have this thing called the Jam 5. The Jam 5 was me being able to obliterate any muscle group within 5 minutes. How is that? It's because efficiency. I'm attacking the muscle from 3 different angles. So now by the time you've done, let's say, a chest press, a chest fly, and now a push-up, you've hit that muscle 3 different ways.
Yeah.
And it's only been about 5 minutes. And now we're going to take that to another 2 exercises. So now we did upper body, we've done lower body, we've done your core. That's only 15 minutes there.
Yeah.
And it's very efficient. It's funny enough, the way I created that 15-minute program was, my coach in Florida used to tell me I was fat all the time. He's like, you gotta lose weight. You gotta lose weight. One of my teammates told me I had auntie hips.
I can't imagine you
Not
fat.
auntie hips.
I cannot.
He told me I had auntie hips. Like they were roasting somebody else, and I chimed in on it, and he was like, you're not talking about me. And he called me auntie hips. And so I've always had this physical kind of shape to my body, which in track and field isn't great because it's always a leaner look. So this is me at like 183. But when I was running, I was like 149, 153. So like much, much leaner than I am now. And because he wanted me to lose weight, I had it that, all right, Jamal, I'm already at practice with him for these like 2 or 3 hours. I would come back home, and my entrance into the house was that workout. I created that workout as my means to giving myself a entry fee into my house to make sure I've done enough work. And it was like a cardio space, and a couple of different movements like push-ups, squats, things like that. And by the time you finish the whole 3 rounds of it, it was only 15 minutes. And I remember I would give it to my clients when they were late. So I had clients who would show up like 45 minutes late, and they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I bet there's nothing we can do right now." And I'm like,
I got you.
No.
"There's something we can do." And they'd be like, "You sure? Like, there's no way where I'm gonna get a great workout." And then we would do it, and they'd be like, "I'm never going to be late again. I will be on time."
They had no time to
My
rest,
bad.
right?
Like, it's no time to rest. Like, we go from one thing to next thing. I think I give them like a minute or 2 minutes between sets, but that was it. And efficiency is what creates the body. It's not the time of your working out. It is not the actual movement. It is the efficiency of the movement. That's
I like
what's
that.
Yeah, which is really good because, saying like people working 9 to 5s, like, are you really working 9 to 5? Are you being busy? Are you being productive? Right.
Busy.
Imagine if we actually worked as hard as we could possibly work from 9 all the way to 5.
I don't think we would work 40 hours a week.
No.
It would be maybe like 10 or 15.
Yes.
Right, because we're busy fake checking emails and fake researching,
You
right?
just talking about me?
Versus just getting it in and get out, right?
Right.
Get in, get out.
Isn't that what that book, The 4-Hour Work Week, is all about?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Great book.
Great book. It's like what they're telling you is like efficiency. You can be more efficient by understanding that the amount of work you're putting in one place is, you probably have like 90% or 80% fluff.
Yep.
So a lot of times why I tell people, I'm like, you really can't last more than an hour training with me, because I'm like, I'm being very efficient. So because I'm so efficient, like, you start feeling the way you would feel in an hour workout around 20-30 minutes of training with me. You're like, I've already hit that point. You mean there's another half hour left? Ugh. And by the time they're going off into their life, and they're so strong and they feel so empowered. I have a client now, every time she comes in, she's like, "Look at my back." Because I told her the one thing in fitness, the one body part in your body that you can only work on, you're not born with it, is the back. It's the one place.
Watching that change. I like seeing when people do their backs. You did yours too.
Yeah.
You see the backs, you see the difference. And,
I seen your transition, and it's just like crazy.
I'm telling you, it's all of my clients. The one thing I always told them, I was like, I'm going to take a picture of your back now, and I'm going to take a picture of your back. Because there's some people who are born with great arms. There are women who are born with great legs and great calves. There are people who have great chests. They always already have that. A back you cannot be born with. A back you have to work on.
It's like, no, I'm fit. Let me see your back. Turn around.
Turn around. And when you turn around, you be like, you was fit, but you ain't fit no more.
Now I know his trick. Let me see your back. All right, you need a personal trainer? Got it.
And that's what I show people. I'll show people like my ex's transformation, or my younger clients, or the clients I have now. And I always show them like, this is where they were. This is what it looks like. Because if you see somebody walking away and you're like, wow, that person's back is so in shape. Wow. Like,
check out the back.
Like, we see it nowadays with women. Like, there's just some women who just have naturally great legs. Naturally. They walk up and down stairs. I saw an old woman on an Instagram once. Her calves look amazing. I thought she was a young woman based off the calves. And they panned up. This woman had to be about 90 years old.
Ooh, go ahead, Grandma.
I was like,
get it, Grandma. Did you flirt with her?
No, she was on Instagram. I looked at those calves.
He could have slid in the DM. Hey, I'm a personal trainer. I just want to say you got sexy legs, girl.
Listen, I've learned one thing about the whole idea of fitness is that men want to be like you when you're a trainer. They want to be like you, and the women want to be with you. And that's kind of like how your billboard is made up. Like, are you physically attractive enough that I'm attracted to you? Of course, then, you know what? I might want to train with you. Then it becomes, for the men, it's like, I want to look like that. I want to be that guy. I want my chest to look like that. I want my back to look like that. Hey, come train me.
Interesting.
And it exists that way. And it's all a psychology.
And like I say, you know your demographic and you know how to market your niche.
Correct. Because I'm 5'5". There's people who I train are like 6'5", and they're like, "Man, I just want to look like you." And I'm like, "This is."
You say, "I actually want to look like you."
I'm like, Johnny, you got one of them Jack and the Beanstalk pills? I just want to be 5'7". That's all I want. I got big goals for height. I feel like it smells different up there. That's my whole.
Hey, the air. I know the air's a little thin up here, but chill. But we probably got enough for maybe one more question.
Yeah.
And we talked about a lot, but I thought this was an interesting thing, and we can end on this note. That so I was reading one thing, and then it made me think of you too. That like everything you eat today, your skin is in 21 days.
Correct.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Correct.
But then you talked about the 7-year body.
Correct.
And how your body changes every 7 years. And I know, with mindset, health, how we're eating today, getting fit today is for the future me, right? We're not doing it for the today me. But what is this 7-year body, and like what does that look like?
So
And like what that is.
The 7-year body is that literally every 7 years you have a brand new body.
Oh,
So
he
it's
knows
not
this
just-
very well.
I do.
So you basically, like, I'll give you the 1 year structure. So your brain renews itself and rebuilds itself every 1 year.
Every year.
Your stomach lining is every 5 days. Your liver, I believe, is every 3 months. Your skin is
21 days.
21 days. Your bones is every 4 months. You have a new skeletal structure.
Okay.
So all of this, in and of itself, all this means is that if you spend the next, let's say, 3 months strength training, you have now built the density of your bones completely different. So for a person who has osteoporosis and they spend that time lifting, they now have a denser structure to their bones in 3 to 4 months. Okay. Now they have this much more denser, stronger bones. Same thing with your eating. The more you're consuming nutrient-dense food, you're rebuilding the stomach lining. Your skin is basically just a matter of like what you've been eating, just showing, especially in your hair and your nails. So now psoriasis, eczema, dandruff, all those things start to become non-existent due to the fact that you've been eating all of these nutrient-dense foods, because all of these ailments are just malnutrition or nutrient deficiencies.
It's a lack of something.
A lack of something, so the body's going haywire and you're experiencing it in the body and it's showing up in these different ways. So I always tell people, it's like, you want your health to take a different turn, is basically create that same outcome. Like, by the end of the year, this is what I want. And then you start creating the structures in your life to take things out and add things in. A lot of times when we're thinking about building a newer body, we think about taking stuff out and subtracting from our life. I'm not going to eat this anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. And every time you do that, you create the rebound effect back to the original space.
Look at that.
Is this why, and I know, sorry to cut you off, but is this why, right? Because you also got a ebook with the changing the 1 meal a week.
Yes.
Versus
First cold turkey.
The cold turkey and everything like that.
Correct.
So instead of taking something out completely, maybe just switching it for 1 meal a week.
Correct.
Instead of cold turkey, and changing everything, and then eventually I can still eat my fried chicken, but don't make it as often or anything like that. Got it. I'm understanding. Now you're making, like, I'm reading what you're putting out, but now you're bringing it together here with us.
Yes. And it's like, it basically started with, like I said, my daughter's mother, she had an autoimmune. She has an autoimmune. And when we were together, I remember we went alkaline for a while. And we were having a hard time. We were arguing one day. And I was like, wait, I was like, hold on, question. I was like, do you know how to eat on this diet? And she was like, yeah. I was like, no, seriously, do you know? And she was like, no. I was like, oh, okay, now this makes perfect sense. we're arguing because we're in two different stages.
Right.
I'm on chapter 4 and
Right.
you're in the introduction.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect. So let me go back to the introduction and let's create a plan on how we get here. So I was like, what we can do is we'll make one meal a week that's alkaline. We can learn how to master that meal together. And then the next week or the next month, we'll transition into 2 meals out the week. And then by the end of the year, we have now made 12 meals out of the week are now alkaline by the end of the year.
I love that. Just slow progression.
Slow progression.
Right.
Because the thing is, it's like, they always talk about, I think, is it the frog? A frog in a boiling pot of water. It's like, if you just turn it all the way up, the frog jumps out. But if you just slowly keep turning up the water, heat, temperature, that frog would eventually stay in the water and boil. Why? Because he doesn't recognize it's getting hot. And the thing is, when you want success, you sometimes have to, unfortunately, it's hard to say this, but I'd spend the time tricking the mind of like, I'm going to slowly transition me into these things so that I learn to master them and feel comfortable with them, as opposed to just going, I'm going to switch everything all at once. So I don't actually even have a conversation about food with my clients until the 3rd month of working with them. After the 3rd month, I go, for this first 3 months, I want you to master physical activity. We'll have a conversation about food after that.
It makes sense.
Right.
Because if I try to change your food and
now you're putting too much on somebody.
I'm putting too much, and they're gonna immediately rebound back to where they were, and then they're gonna stay stationary because they're gonna go,
That didn't work.
success looks hard.
Yeah.
I'd rather stay here. But if I make it look easier and looks doable, well, one meal a month,
I could do that.
I could do that.
Word.
That's all right. Game, we're on. And now they get there and they start finding their success, and they start feeling comfortable in their success, and they start feeling like they created it. Because if you give someone success, they feel like, if you gave it to me, I can lose it. If you gave it to me,
I can do
I
it
can
again.
give it away.
Amen to that.
But when I created as mine, it never leaves me.
Yep, I love that. Yep.
Well, definitely. There's so much more I want to talk to you about, but we definitely got to wrap this up, and we're definitely going to bring you back on.
Oh, of course.
Because we definitely want to talk about more health and fitness and everything like that. But
definitely.
I did have one pressing question before we tell everybody where to find you and everything, and talk about your new 12-week program that's coming up. But my pressing question is, because I saw that you seen Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, right? So we went to go see it, and the pressing question is, what house are you in?
I'm always in Gryffindor.
Woo! You see, I'm always a winner.
Get out of here.
What's interesting about that, people,
Get out of here.
As she raised her arm, I knew exactly where to win She's
So
a DC
I am-
fan.
You felt it. Oh, yeah. The tattoo?
Yep.
Yeah, we're DC fans, so we're
See?
big on DC. But I see that you're a nerd because you talked about Jiren, so we're nerds too.
Oh, yeah.
And we're
yeah.
going to Comic-Con, so maybe you should come with us.
Ooh, we
So
could go together.
I'm definitely coming with you. My younger brother's a graphic designer.
Oh,
And
nice.
he's like
Ooh.
huge in this, and he loves going. He's constantly drawing, and like he's actually a person who's created my logo and all these different things. And like this is his world. He draws comic books.
Well, listen, we
getting
got
dressed
early
up.
access to buy tickets, so
Oh, I'm on.
Let's
if
go.
you don't have the early access, we can go together.
I don't.
So, so we got early access. So, we're about to wrap this up. Just tell people where they can find you on whatever platform. Where can they find you?
Perfect. You can find me on Instagram at Jamal Harding I am. Once you see it, it'll say Lifestyle Transformation Coach, which is, again, that's Jamal Harding I am. And on my website, jamct.com, which is JAM as in Mary, CT.com, Joints and Muscles Corrective Training.
Got it. And then we always like to give listeners something special. So I know you have by the time this come out, you have a 12-week program coming out. So is there anything special we could give to the listeners?
Oh, yes. For everyone who is listening, If you email to jamalh@jamct.com, there is a 15% discount for you guys on the 12-week challenge. The 12-week challenge is basically where you get a program designed by me to transform your body. On top of that, you get an entire workbook that goes along with it. The workbook goes along with your mindset, allowing you to get where you are, create where you want to be, and giving you the ability to take notes throughout the entire process.
Got it. And does it have to, and last thing, does it have to be in person? Because our listeners are everywhere.
Oh, no. This program, you actually download the program. You do the program at your own pace with your own workout time. What you do is you actually, from the moment you sign in and purchase the program, it sends you a Facebook accountability group link.
Got it.
So now you're in a group with everybody who's going through the program with you. And they're sharing in their struggles and they're sharing in your successes.
Nice. So that's it, everybody. This is Jamal Harding, everybody's favorite Jay, and her favorite Sean. Thank you for listening. We'll have everything in the show notes to get that 15% off.
Please.
And with that being said, we'll see you next week.
Bye.